Man, do I love Unreal Tournament. I haven't stopped going back to it ever since it dropped in late 1999. It's an expertly composed symphony of chaotic carnage. So, any arena shooter that resembles UT always has my attention, doubly so if it uses the same codebase underneath. As is the case with Nerf Arena Blast. Developed by Visionary Media Incorporated and published by Hasbro Interactive under their sub-brand at the time, Atari Interactive. That kid sure has some big forearms. Anyway, despite the unusual lack of ESRB ratings anywhere, this is very much a kid-friendly game. What appears to be an Unreal Tournament reskin with Nerf guns, making everything softer and safer. So yeah, they literally nerfed UT. In more ways than one, right? Since the term Nerf came from Nerf toys to begin with. But yeah, Unreal Tournament with Nerf blasters seems fun to me. Though there's no mention of UT on the box, only a brief line about using the Unreal Engine. And I suppose that makes sense. Nerf Arena Blast actually predates Unreal Tournament. Yeah, I'd always assumed NAB came out after UT somehow, but nope. Unreal Tournament launched on November 22nd, 1999, and Nerf Arena Blast arrived some weeks earlier. Depends on where you look. You might see October 31st of 99, others state November 1st or 2nd, and the earliest newspaper ads I've found are from November 7th. Regardless, it hit store shelves before UT, which I didn't realize till now. On that note, I found this IGN interview with Hasbro Interactive's Dave Walls. Apparently they sought the license since they were already having fun shooting Nerf blasters around the office and were tired of cleaning up the darts. He also stated that we just didn't want to take Unreal and slap the Nerf brand on it. Though that's certainly how it felt to me when I discovered this game, and that was fine. I loved the OG Nerf guns growing up. Man, these commercials are burned into my brain.
So you better think about a Nerf bow and arrow, or a Nerf missile storm, or a Master Blaster, or an Arrow Storm, or a very good hiding place. Don't you get it? It's Nerf or nothing.
And yeah, that is Devon Sawa, by the way. I am still envious of his hair. Seeing him in Casper as a kid made me feel inadequate. Anyway, inside the game box is not a whole lot. Other than the software, there's nothing beyond a product registration card and a rather extensive Hasbro survey. One going into questions about who the game was for, why it was chosen, favorite games and toys, internet access, marital situation and employment status, and what hardware you own. Do you have a Nintendo 128? Hasbro wants to know. But yeah, the main event is the game on CD-ROM packed within a jewel case, including a black and white instruction booklet packed inside there with 31 pages of informational tidbits detailing each of the blasters, game types, and pickups, along with several pages up front going into the narrative, setting up how there's a futuristic worldwide Nerf Combat League who, for the first time, is letting amateur players in to go up against the pros, complete with profiles on each playable character and context for every in-game map. Information which is almost entirely not in the actual game, and I didn't even realize there was a story until just now as I'm writing this. There's no plot introduction sequence like Unreal Tournament has, only a brief video with some character names and upbeat music. Please disregard the machine gun sound effects. There are no such things in Nerf Arena Blast. There are, however, plenty of Nerf blasters, with 5 actual products and 5 fictional sci-fi guns to pick up in-game, each one nicely modeled and textured for the time. But first thing is the main menu, where we're told to enter a name and choose a pre-made character along with your difficulty level. And the rest of the menus consist of rather simplified options compared to UT, at least till you open the advanced menu, which brings up a whole lot of Unreal Engine adjustments you'll be familiar with if you've ever modified UT settings. Once you exit the menu, you're dropped into a map with 2 rooms, a tutorial and an amateur combat map.
Welcome to the Arena Blast training area.
The tutorial is a tutorial. It takes newbies through a tutorialized sequence of areas to learn basic movements and interactions, at least until it broke and I had to quit and move on. Anyway, I started blasting. Dang, this is some delectable late 90s FPS goodness right here. The sound effects, the energetic CD audio soundtrack, the way those secret shot darts stick to surfaces, and those colors, all the colors, all the time. I love it. Back in that IGN interview, Mr. Walls stated they were influenced by N64 games like Mario and Zelda, and yeah, honestly, I can see it. And it fits the bombastically vibrant 90s Nerf aesthetic. I mean, just look at these things. It's all highly saturated yellows, oranges, pinks and greens, blues and purples. The design practically screams late 90s 3D accelerated FPS. Unfortunately, this 1993 Missile Storm isn't featured in the game, but that's fine. There are plenty of great blasters, again, 5 real and 5 fictional, each with a primary and alt-fire mode. Almost all of them are variants of what you have in Unreal Tournament, though each is remixed enough to feel unique. And the 5 blasters based on actual Nerf products all act similarly to their real-world counterparts, with tweaks and additions that make sense in a game. Like the Wildfire, not only automatically fires individual darts like the real thing, but can also shoot 10 at once like a kind of flat cannon. The Ballzooka shoots the expected balls, but also greenish goop, like the Bio Rifle except just sticky and not explosive. The Pulsator has its pulsating barrels shooting balls, but the main fire mode is now a spinning bola to disarm players. And the Triple Strike shoots arrows with both single and triple shot firing modes like the real deal, but these explode on impact like a rocket launcher. Unfortunately, its projectiles don't scream like the real ones, which is a shame. Those screaming arrows were all over the advertising.
Nerf Triple Strike! You pump up the power for maximum distance! Nerf Triple Strike!
Yeah, I actually do have one of the Triple Strikes from 98, 99, and it does whistle, like these, with the little whistler thingy on the end there. It actually makes a whistling sound. So it's slightly broken, but you know, I'm gonna try to fix it. Anyway, it still works for this. Yeah, so why don't they make the one in the game whistle? I don't know. Missed opportunity.
And yeah, the other weapons are all fictional but fun. The Scattershot is a shotgun with different spreads. The Nerf cannon shoots basketball-sized explosives. The Hypershot is somewhere between shock rifle and Insta-Jib rifle in terms of capabilities. The Sidewinder is effectively the UT Ripper gun, but with a secondary fire that lets you guide the projectile in first person, like the UT Redeemer. And then the Whomper basically is the Redeemer, but actually more like a BFG, taking a moment to warm up and fire, blasting a huge radius all at once. With the secondary fire depleting shields, and yep, health and shields are your two notable attributes to keep up with, health being the number in the bottom left, and shields showing up over on the right. And there are the expected pickups to boost each, as well as less common pickups allowing for higher jumping, faster running, and double damage. It's all classic arena shooter stuff that'll feel mighty familiar to genre veterans. Anyway, I know I've been showing random gameplay for a while, but let's get back to the campaign. After that first amateur skirmish, you're teleported to this pleasant-looking hub world, a kind of open-air shopping mall-looking place complete with water features, and storefronts, which are actually entryways to the 8 different combat arenas, one for each competing team. Then the final championship arena opens up at the end if you manage to outscore all 8 teams. You still have to battle each team in a predetermined order though, meaning Mall World here doesn't serve a purpose other than a fancy menu system, but hey, I like fancy menus, so I'm not complaining. There are 3 doorways within each team's lobby, one for each game type, so make your choice, grab a blaster and get nerfing. Right, so what we've got here really is a lot like Unreal Tournament. That much is obvious and expected, particularly in this Point Blast mode that's most similar to Deathmatch. But once I got past the initial UT Total Conversion mod feel, yeah, Nerf Arena Blast genuinely does have its own distinct character. There's more of a unique identity to it than I noticed at first glance. The main thing being that, well, there's no death and, by extension, no kill count. Instead, players are quote-unquote knocked out when their shields and health are depleted. It's effectively still a kill, or it would be if the game counted those, but nope. It doesn't matter how many times you knock others out, everything here is about acquiring points. And whoever has the most after the timer runs out wins the match. With 25 points earned for every time you shoot someone, 100 points for hitting them directly in the chest, and if you knock them out, they drop a floating point pickup wherever they fell, with 250 points as a base. But it goes up to 500, 750, and 1,000 points for third, second, and first place ranked players, respectively. So the better you are, the more you're worth when you're knocked out. But the twist is that if you don't pick up the points dropped, it kinda doesn't matter. Knockout points are only gained on pickup, and others can pick up those points, or they'll even just disappear if you're not quick enough. You can even pick up your own points if you're knocked out, rapidly run back to where you fell, and grab the floating points pickup before another player does, which is kinda wild. Another thing skewing all of this are the point targets plastered around each map, with 250, 500, and 1,000 point targets triggered by blasters. They have a cooldown, so you can only shoot them every 10 seconds or so, but still, it's technically possible to win a match without taking out another player at all, once you learn where the targets are and how often you can shoot them. But yeah, this point system applies to all game types, although it's not always top priority like it is in Point Blast mode. Now, Speed Blast, for instance, is an outright race to the finish. There are 7 flags acting as checkpoints that need to be touched in the right order, and the first player to reach the 7th wins. You can still shoot and knock out other players, which does earn points, but it doesn't seem to do anything beyond earning a higher score on the scoreboard. As long as you reach the final flag first, that's all that matters. And honestly, taking out others is kind of a waste of time, not only because they respawn at the most recently touched flag, but also because the AI kinda sucks at pathfinding, at least on most Speed Blast maps. There are a couple of simpler maps that they can manage, but the majority of them are pretty complicated and involve a lot of backtracking, platforming, and even a few environmental puzzles. So most of the time they get confused or stuck or end up shooting each other in frustration or something, and you can just waltz right through to the end with no problem, sometimes in under a minute. Speed Blast maps really are the weakest part of the game in my view, at least against AI bots and single player. I'm sure this will be a lot of fun multiplayer against humans with brains. The last game type is Ball Blast, and it's pretty darn enjoyable. Grab your balls and blast them directly into the holes. 7 is once again the pertinent number, with each ball having a different color and the first 6 spawning around the map at random. Collect at least one of each, use your ball blaster to shoot them into the goal and score points. Whoever has the most points by the time someone sinks all 7 balls wins. It almost feels like a distant precursor to the bombing run mode introduced in UT 2003, which also featured a ball launcher launching balls into goal holes. But yeah, Nerf Ball Blast is good fun for the most part. It is unfortunately brought down a bit by the final ball. After you've grabbed and sunk the first 6 colors, the 7th golden ball drops somewhere, and once it does, pick it up and sink that sucker to end the match. If you can find the dang thing. Not only does the golden ball look an awful lot like the yellow and orange balls, but finding precisely where the elusive orb is hiding within the entire map can be a pain. It's taken me almost 10 minutes to find the final ball at times. Oh well.
And the winner is Ted of the Twisters.
Anyway, that's the gist of the campaign. It's those 3 modes on repeat for the whole game. 8 different times and 8 different arenas against 8 teams. And then once you've beaten them all, it's on to the final championship arena, which is a tad underwhelming. I don't know, it's fine, but it's nothing more than a regular Point Blast match against 5 of the bots you've encountered before. No big twist or boss battle or anything. At least the map is fun with a big open area in the middle, resulting in lots of nerfy chaos, but there are enough points targets scattered around that are easy to hit that it kinda takes the edge off of any challenge provided by the combat. It's no Zan Krieger fight, is what I'm saying. But yeah, once it's over, you get a video cutscene with random character animations and someone spamming a soundboard. And that's it. The game just ends. Other than replaying the same matches again, the big remaining feature is multiplayer. And well, GameSpy servers were taken down and fan servers are few and far between, so no luck there. You can't even set up your own bot matches, since for whatever reason bots are disabled in multiplayer, at least by default. This is the Unreal Engine after all, and there's always an INI file somewhere. Sure enough, by changing B multiplayer bots to true, bots are enabled in multiplayer matches whenever real players can't populate the server. Annoying this isn't enabled by default. Bots are already part of the game, and custom matches against them really helps in replayability. Especially since Arena Blast also came with NerfEd, its own version of the Unreal editor, so custom maps were clearly encouraged. No surprise then, the community that grew up around this game was quite vibrant and continues on with fan sites like nerfarena.net. And that's where you can find the excellent NAB community packs, with the full version providing over 1 gigabyte of custom content curated over the decades. Once installed, you get what they claim are all the maps, mods, sounds, and textures ever made for the game. Yeah, it's a lot. But the quality of life improvements alone are worthwhile, particularly all the extra menus, options, and customization across game types. Plus a dedicated offline bot match menu complete with map lists and mutators. You feel like shooting explosive watermelons at each other inside of an Imperial starship housing TIE fighters? Go for it. Want to jump around in outer space, rapid-firing insta-kill nukes at each other? Go right ahead. Or even simply being able to play classic Unreal Tournament maps with Nerf guns. That right there is a joy all on its own. The mods for each game aren't directly compatible with each other, but with a little bit of work, they seem to have a lot of things converted over. The community patch also unlocks unfinished game types, like team-based bot match modes and something called Lab Rat mode, which is really Point Blast with added bits of cheese, a tasty cultured pickup that boosts your health and provides bonus points. I can kinda see why they never finished this mode, there's not much to it. Also Capture the Flag, which reportedly the developers wanted to put in the game, but never got around to it. Well, thanks to the modding scene, CTF is playable. Along with plenty more new game types created by fans on top of that, the community patch will certainly keep you occupied. And if you're playing on modern hardware, which is really easy to do, you can even try mods like Ray Traced Arena Blast, one of those NVIDIA RTX remixes that slaps a bunch of shiny textures, height maps, and moodier real-time lighting over everything. Whether or not that's something you want, that's up to personal taste, of course, and these kinds of things are always evolving. No doubt someone will give it the DLSS 5 treatment eventually. What a time to be alive! And that's about it for Nerf Arena Blast. It's a fun time, a blast perhaps, at least for a few hours, which is how long it took for me to beat the championship. I wish there were more multiplayer servers going, but there are still plenty of mods and community maps to mess with, which is great. Although I'd struggle to recommend this over Unreal Tournament for any reason at all. That game has so much more custom content and, well, a more enjoyable base game to be honest. Really, it's the Nerf blasters themselves, the colorful environments, and the fascinating points-based gameplay that set this apart, and for sure, it's worth trying out if you dig old-school arena shooters. And it's certainly the best Nerf-licensed FPS, at least one that isn't an on-rails motion shooter or a mobile game. There was that Nerf Legends game in 2021, but that did not have a positive reception and was quickly forgotten. Arena Blast, though, it's one of those titles packed with enough charm that it's retained fans for 27 years and counting. Maybe one day it'll finally get a digital re-release and gain a few more. Let me know your memories of this in the comments, or whatever your favorite arena shooter back then was. And I hope you stick around for other things coming up in the future here on LGR. There's always other stuff in the works. And as always, thanks for watching.